Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Maximizing Project Efficiency with MFALS. Learn how MFALS simplifies project lifecycle management webinar. I am pleased to be here as your host for today's session. Before we begin, I would like to make a few announcements. First, please note that this is a webcast webinar, which means that you will be in listen-only mode. We encourage you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the webinar. Secondly, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and we really encourage you to participate by typing your questions in the question section. If we are unable to answer your question during the session, we will follow up with you via the email. Last but not least, please note that this session is being recorded, and a copy of this recording will be shared with you once it is available. Now, without further ado, let me invite my colleague Jenna to the stage. Jenna, over to you.
Thank you, Takif. Hi, a very good morning to everyone. Firstly, we would like to thank you for your time. As mentioned by Takif, in today's session, we will be covering on the project lifecycle management and how MFAS can help you simplify your current processes. Right. All right, so before we start, I would like to introduce the speakers. My name is Jana, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager. With me here today is Takif. Takif is our Senior Application Consultant. He will be demonstrating the MFAS user interface after the presentation. All right, so the agenda for today is we will be covering on the following: an overview of our company, introduction to MFAS and HubShare, what is project lifecycle management, how does transmitter and submitter management work in MFAS, system demonstration, and we will go through the Q&A session. All right. An overview of EDMS. So EDMS consultants, we have been in the industry now for more than 20 years. We are experienced in providing digital transformation solutions and services in content, document, and also in business process management. What we do is we assist our clients to automate their business processes to ensure that at the end of the day, our clients achieve improved business profitability, agility, and productivity. We have been partners with MFAS for more than 10 years now, and we are one of the top 50 partners around the world and the first Malaysian partner of MFAS to be certified as the MFAS delivery partner as of the year 2022. More on EDMS. We have throughout the years, we have extensive experience in the following verticals, as you can see: oil and gas, engineering and manufacturing, power utilities, ports infrastructure, and also recently we have ventured into banking and healthcare. In Malaysia, we are a registered vendor with Petronas, Ministry of Finance, TNB, and Telecom. And EDMS consultants, we are known as a regional solution provider in the Asia-Pacific region. Aside from providing our services and solutions in Malaysia, we also provide in Thailand, Philippines, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, and more. These are our main four focused services. Professional ICT consultancy and support is more to us providing consultation to our client to understand what are their requirements, such as do they require a document management system, do they require business process management, or a records management system. Aside from that, we also provide HR consultancy and talent acquisition, risk safety and environmental services, and also asset management solution and asset management services. Throughout the years, for all of our services, these are our overall clients. But if we were to look at our digital transformation clients, these are our overall digital transformation clients. Now, I would like to give you a brief introduction of what is MFALS and HubShare. So what is MFALS? MFALS provides a centralized location for all of your organization's documents, and also MFALS is user-friendly in terms of integrating with other software and services to ensure a seamless user experience. HubShare, on the other hand, HubShare provides a simple and intuitive interface for you to collaborate with your colleagues and your clients. This platform is designed to help team work and more efficiently and effectively. And also it provides a secure and streamlined solution for sharing sensitive information. All right, so now we're going to go into what is project lifecycle management. So project lifecycle management is the process of managing a project from its inception up until its completion. So step one, from initiating a process To step 2, planning the process, executing the process, for you to monitor and control the processes and also the closing process. An effective project lifecycle management ensures that the project is delivered on time, within budget, and to the satisfaction of the stakeholders. It also helps to identify and mitigate risk, and it ensures that the project is aligned with the organizational goals and objectives. So these are the steps. So from step 1, this is during the start of the project. Here is where you'll be developing the templates, the project folders, and the document class. From there, you will go into the planning process where you will develop the workflows, the approval, the permission settings, and the user signatories. Executing the process whereby the project implementation will take place. This includes the collaboration, the transmittal, and the submittals. Monitoring and controlling processes. Here is where you have access to the reporting and the analytics, and also the last step, which is the closing process. Here is where the project will go through archive. All right, so here is an example of the real life project information flow. As you can see, this chart shows the stages of facility development on the left and the various content types and solutions we have focused on. These blue boxes, such as the contract management, the transmitter management, the control revision tracking, represent the solutions that we have delivered to date by partnering with key customers to address industry challenges, resulting in commercial available and best practice solutions. In the upcoming demo, we will be showcasing some of these solution elements. Now, how does transmitter and submitter management work in MFALS? MFALS is a powerful solution for managing managing the transmitter and the submitter in project management. So let's go through what is transmitter all about. So transmitter are documents that are sent from one party to another as part of the project. Submittals, on the other hand, are documents that are submitted for review and approval during the course of the project. So what MFAS does is that it simplifies the transmitter and submitter management by providing a centralized repository for you to store, for you to manage, and for you to track everything that is involved in the project. So this system allows the project managers to easily create, send, and track the transmittal and the submittals, and also provides visibility into the entire process. Right. Here are the sample screenshots that will actually be shown, will appear in the system itself. So with MFiles, as you can see image 1, with MFiles, users can create transmitters or submitters by selecting the appropriate documents from the system, adding relevant details like the recipient, the class, the date, the description, and sending them directly to the recipient through the system. The system automatically tracks the status and updates it as needed, providing a real-time visibility into the progress of each transaction. Image 2, on the other hand, overall, what MFiles does is that it provides a streamlined and efficient solution for you to manage your transmitter and your submitters in project management, enabling teams to collaborate effectively and ensuring that all the documentations is properly managed and tracked throughout the project lifecycle. All right, now I'm going to go into the key features. So here are some of the key features of using MFiles for your project lifecycle management. All right, so in terms of centralized location, MFiles provides a central repositories location whereby you're able to store, manage, and track your transmittals and your submittals. Aside from that, also customizable templates for consistent formatting. You will have automated numbering and version control. You'll have the ability to add custom fields for you to track additional information. You can integrate with your email to send directly from the system. You'll have automated workflows for routing your submittals to the appropriate reviewers and approvers. Real-time tracking of your transmittal and your submittals status and reporting. You'll have comprehensive search capabilities to quickly find required information. You have secure access. You have the secure access controls whereby it helps to restrict for people to access sensitive information. You have the ability to add comments and notes for collaboration and context. And lastly, mobile access for on-the-go management and review. Now we're going to go into the key benefits. So here are some of the benefits of how MFAS can help you streamline your project lifecycle management. In terms of improved efficiency, MFA's centralized location for storing, managing, and tracking transmitter and submitter reduces the time and effort required to manage and track your work manually. Increased accuracy, on the other hand, MFA's uh, automated the transmittal and the submittal numbering and version control to ensure that it is accurately tracked and managed, reducing the risk of errors and inconsistency. Automated workflows, on the other hand, with MFA's automated workflows for routing and submittals, it will actually help for it to be sent to the appropriate reviewers or approvers for you to improve efficiency and reduce the risk of delays and bottlenecks. Enhance collaboration. MFA's ability to add comments and notes and its integration with email enables team members to collaborate effectively and share information easily. Real-time tracking. MFA's real-time tracking status enables project management to stay up to date with the progress and take action when it's needed. And lastly, for better security, MFA's secure access control ensures that only authorized personnel can access sensitive information, providing better control over the project documentation. All right, now we will be going through the demo for you to understand further on how it works. I will be passing it over to Takif, our senior application consultant. Takif, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Jenna. So just like Jenna mentioned, I will be showing you how you can actually uh, use files to manage the project management, project documentations, and also things like transmittal and submittal management, right? But first, let me just share my screen. All right, I really hope everyone can see my screen. So in mfiles, we can actually have a few ways on how you can actually use mfiles. The first way and the most common way is by launching this mfile desktop application. You can also access mfiles from the web app. Mfile is also available in the web app, and it is also available in Google Play Store and also Apple App Store. So meaning to say that it is also available for the mobile application platform. Yeah. But for this webinar, I'm going to use mfiles desktop application. So you just need to double click this mfiles icon here. Then you might see list of different vaults. There might be a time, there might be some use case in which you might want to use different vaults. For instance, maybe each department would like to have their own vaults. Or there are also another possibilities that you might want to use only one vault. So it really depends on your business requirement, but for this demo, I'm just going to use this one particular vault, which is EDMS Online Transmittal Demo. So I just need to double click this particular vault. See in my credential. Alright, as you can see here, once you log into the system, you will see this screen. Right, so on the top here, so before I move on into the project management and all and some of the other stuff in mfiles, let me introduce you quickly introduce you on the basic user interface of mfiles. So in the top here, you can see we have the search bar and search button on the top here. We also have a few tabs. So if you see here, now we are at the Alt tab. So in Alt tab, it only displays or consists views. So we have my views, common views, and also other views, right? My views is something that you personally configured for yourself, meaning to say that this particular views is only accessible uh, by you, right? Only you can see this view. Common views, on the other hand, it is configured by the admin, and it is accessible, uh, and it can be accessed to all the users in mfiles, right? And we also have other views, which is uh, provided by mfiles, and every users can see this one, but it is personal. It is actually personalized just for current users, right? So what are views? So views is actually a bit different than traditional folder mechanism because currently if you're using traditional folder management, we are concerned on where do we store our file, right? But in mfiles, we didn't really concern on where do we store our file, but we are more focused on what are the document is, right? So we need to specify, we need to define what are the documents or objects that we would like to upload or register in mfiles, right? So for instance, like this views manage clients, I have defined the view so that it will only display the object type client. So meaning to say that if I double click this view, I can see all the client objects that is registered in mfiles. Right. So meaning to say that if I add new client object, it will be automatically included in this particular views, right? So there's no need for you to actually find this particular folder. Where should I store this client's object, right? So there's no need for you to think about it in mfiles, right? Right. The next one is we have the recent tab. Well, recent tab is actually quite straightforward. It shows all the documents that you have recently worked on, and this is actually a very useful tab if you have certain documents that you work on a daily basis. So you can just use this tab, refer to your recent documents. Next, we have the assign tab. So in mfiles, we have the capability to create assignments. So meaning to say that, for instance, you have one particular document that is assigned to you and requires your approval, then that particular assignment or that particular documents will be displayed in this assign section, just like this one, right? Then you have the checkout section, right? So in mfiles, if you would like to amend or edit a particular document, you need to check out the document first, right? So in this case, I have checked out one document, right? And when I check out this document, other users won't be able to check out this document because it is already reserved to me. And once I have completed my changes, I need to check in the document back to mfiles in order for me to apply the changes that I have made, right? So all the checkout document by you will be displayed here. Then we have the pin tab, right? So pin tab is quite straightforward. In mfiles, you can pin any object, any documents. You just have to right click and pin that document. And another interesting part about this pin section is that you can categorize or group all your pin objects or documents. So for instance, like maybe I've pinned two projects. Maybe this is my important projects. I have pinned one particular document. Maybe this document is something that I need to work on because it's still in progress. It's not. It's still in draft state and something like that, right? Right. So this is basically all the tabs. Now I'm going to show you how the search function works. So for RAM files, you can actually search anything, anything within M files by using the search function here. For instance, if I type the word fire, now I can see a few documents uh, displayed as the result. Right. So in M files, we find the content of this particular. We find the match for this particular words in different areas. The first one is the name or title of that particular documents, right? And the second area would be in the metadata itself. So as you can see here, we have the word fire in the metadata. So this is the reason why this particular document is displayed as the result. And before I move on into details about the searching function, I just would like to highlight more about metadata. Right? So when you click any object or document in mfiles, if you go to this metadata tab, it will show you the metadata properties for these particular documents. And as you can see here, we have class, type, name of the documents, client, project, etc. And these metadata properties have been designed, have been configured for this particular class, which is specification. So meaning to say, if you have another class, you might have a different metadata properties, right? So it really depends on your business requirement on how do you want to define or what are the metadata properties that you would like to include for this particular class, right? For this specification class, this is my metadata properties that I have defined. Right, so back to the searching mechanism. The second area would be enforce is find a match or find a word in the metadata content, in the metadata properties. And the third area would be if I just click to one of the PDF document here, and if I click this preview button, preview tab here, I can actually preview my documents directly from mFiles. Right, as you can see here, there is actually no need for me to download these particular documents and maybe launch another third-party PDF reader. But by mFile, by using mFile, you can just use this preview button, and there you go. You can see the content of these particular documents. And as you can see here, this is the word fire. All right, this is the word fire, and it is being highlighted in yellow. And this is the reason why this particular document is also displayed as the result. And one thing that I would like to highlight is that this particular document is actually a scan document, right? In mFiles, you can perform OCR so that the scanned document will be converted into something that can be read, something's readable for mFiles. So, I mean, since we have performed the OCR on these particular documents, this is the reason why we can find the word fire in this scanned document. Right. So that is about the search functions, uh, and that is just a quick introductions on the basic, mFiles basic user interface. Now moving forward to the agenda for today, uh, just like we mentioned, you can actually use mFiles uh, for any use case. And in terms of our webinar today, we can use mFile to manage your project documents and also manage your perhaps maybe transmittal, submittal, etc. Right. So if you can see here, I have this manage project views, and as mentioned, I have configured these views so that it will include the project objects. So if I double click this manage project views, perhaps you would like to filter the project by customer, all right, because the customer is included in the metadata properties. Maybe you would like to filter the projects by project manager or status of the project. You can do so as long as all the information is in the metadata, right? But for now, let me just show all projects that is registered in mFiles. So as you can see here, these are the projects that I have configured in or registered in mFiles, right? So you have few projects here. You can have some sort of a workflow state or status of this particular project. As you can see, we have some new projects, a few projects that have been completed, the start date and the completion date, right? So if I just click into one of the project here, if I just go to the metadata, as you can see here, these are the metadata properties for the project objects, right? Another thing that I would like to highlight to you is that in mFiles, you have this relationship document or object relationship feature, meaning to say that you can see what are the objects or documents that are linked together with this particular project. So if I expand this object here, I can see that, all right, we have one transmittal related to this project. All right, you have 4 phases for this particular project, and what are the status, right? This is something you can do. You have multiple documents that is linked to this particular project, right? And who is the client for this particular project? So meaning to say that at the end of the day, by having this object relationship feature, you can have the 360 view, a holistic view of your particular objects or particular document, and this is really interesting and really powerful in M-Files, right? So, uh, so this is no, I mean this is what you can do with the views and also with the metadata properties of this, of each of the class, right? Right. So let us say that, let us create a new project, right? So I can just go to my back to the home screen, and I can go to templates, project templates. Right. So right now we have this one object which is called project template, and this is something you can do in an M file. For instance, if I expand this project template, I can see what are the documents that is linked to this project template, and what are the phases that is that are linked to this particular project. So meaning to say that in M files you can use this project template, right? So there is no need for you to actually uh, create of create each of these document one by one, right? So let me just show you how is it being done. So if I just click into this a project template object, then I can create. Then I just need to click on this create project button here. For instance, maybe I would say Tower B reconstruction, the name of the project. The project code would be, this is just for example, who is our client, maybe ESTT Corporation, who is the project manager, maybe me, right? So in MFOS you can actually set certain properties to be mandatory, and this is the reason why you see this asterisk symbol here, asterisk sign, and you can also set the rest of the properties as the optional, right? So let me just choose the start date would be day, the completion date, the plain completion date, perhaps maybe a few months later, right? So if everything is already set up, then I can just click create. Right. So let me go back to the uh, manage project views so that I can see my newly created project. Right. So if you can see here, this is actually the new projects that I have created, and it is automatically included in this project views because we already configured this particular views to include the object type project, right? So if I expand this this project here, I can see, right, the phases for for this project. This is just a template, all right? So that, I mean, you can just use these phases. There's no need for you to create each of the phases manually. Same goes to this document here, right? So this will be auto populated because it is, I mean, it is from the template that you have configured just now. And you can also include the project code. So these documents, I mean, so that you know that this documents, this project template is specifically for this particular project, right? This is something you can do. And as you can see here, each of the documents has its own stage, Faces has its own stage, and perhaps maybe for the projects you would like to include something what we call as milestone. Yes, you can add milestone. You can just click here, milestone, right? For instance, maybe kick off meeting, right? So project, right? completion date, maybe tomorrow is the kickoff meeting. Yeah, so I can just click create here. Since I have linked this particular milestone with this project, as you can see here, if I expand this project, I can see, all right, so this is the milestone and this is the status of this particular milestone, right? And and you can have something like, you know, just like mentioned, for instance, the project planning. If you would like to specify the project planning, perhaps it should start, for instance, like today, right? And the estimated completion date might be maybe next week, right? Then I can just start phase. There you go. So you can have the tracking, and you can see each phases, each milestone, each document links to this particular project and what are the status of this particular objects, right? And for instance, like this project, perhaps it is already started, then I can just change the status to project ongoing, right? So currently I'm just showing you how is it being done manually, but in mFiles you can have the extra customization in which, for instance, if you can have this automatically change whenever it reach certain criteria. For instance, like if the project date is already, if current date is already reach the start date, perhaps you would like to change the status to automatically change the status project and going. I mean, this is something that we can do as well, and it might require some extra customization, right? Yep, but yeah, just to mention to you, this is how you can actually manage the documents in mFiles. You can link it together. You can have the milestone. You can have the phases. You can perhaps have the workflow status for each of the project documents, right? Right, but let's say that you wanted to add a few other documents that is required or that might be related in this particular project. Yes, I mean, you can add new documents, and in fact in mFiles there are few ways on how you can actually create documents. The first one is something that I've shown to you just now by utilizing the project template, right? That's the first one, and I will cover this document template later in a specific section, right? So the second way to create documents is by uploading document to mFiles. So it doesn't mean that when you're using mFiles, document has to be created in mFiles. No, you can actually create the documents outside mFile, and at the later stage you can upload that in mFile. So let me just show you very quickly how is it being done. So here I have sample document. So for instance, if I wanted to add these two documents in mFiles, I can just simply drag and drop this document into mFiles, or I can just copy this document. Then I can paste the document in mFiles. So I just have to right click and paste. Right? So I create anyway. So just now I just create I just copy two documents. So it will, I mean, mFile will ask me to key in the metadata properties for each of these documents. So for instance, like this one, we are currently looking at drawing sample 2. So perhaps the class would be drawing, right? Drawing 2 for tower B, right? ESTT Corporation. What is the project? Revision date, the revision date, description. Right. Delivery method, maybe email. Right, then I can just click create. Then mFile will ask me to key in the metadata properties for the other documents. Right? So what is this document? It is drawing sample 1. So say drawing 1 for tower B. Right. So we I mean, it also automatically brought the metadata properties from the previous class, right? Then I can just click create. So if I go to this recent tab here, I can see these are the two documents that I have created just now, right? Uh, this is the second way on how you can create documents in mfiles by uploading from somewhere outside mfiles. The third way is you can actually create documents from mfiles by clicking this create button here and click document, right? So for instance, let me create a specification documents. And yes, just like I mentioned, in mfiles we can have this template feature. And for instance, like this specification, I have created a specification template. Then I can just use this template, and then I need to key in the metadata properties for this specification. So let me just write something here. All right. Other projects, tower reconstruction. All right. You can actually key in a lot of metadata properties. Right. Vision date, description. All right. Delivery method, email, and since I'm creating this document directly from mfiles, then I just click open. I mean, it will automatically by default, it will check this open for editing box, and I can just click create, and then mfiles will launch Microsoft Word. Right, since we are using mfiles template, as you can see here, most of the informations, the layout have been prepared for me, and the metadata properties I've keyed in will be automatically populated in the location or in the section that I have configured. Right, so meaning to say that by using this mfiles template feature, there's actually no need for you to create the document from scratch. Right, you can just use this template and work on the rest of the item later. Right, so assuming that this document is all okay, then I can just close this document and I can just click save, then check the document, check in back the document in mfiles. Right, so this is how you can create documents in mfiles, right? And yep, moving forward, I mean, the next agenda would be on the transmittal and the submittal things. Yes, in mfiles you can configure mfiles so it can, I mean, so that you can manage transmittals. So, for instance, if I wanted to create new transmittal, I can just click create here and choose this transmittal object, right? Similar to the specification documents, I have transmittal template, right? Then I just need to key in the date, the client, project. One thing that is interesting about mfiles is that since I'm choosing ESTT Corporation, so when I click this drop down here, it will filter the project that is related to ESTT Corporation. So I'm just going to choose this project that we have created just now, right? And then for this transmittal document properties, this is where I need to define what are the documents that I want to include in this transmittal, right? So in this case, I'm just going to choose 3 documents that we have created just now. All right, so let me just drawing one for tower B, drawing 2 for tower B, technical specs for tower B project. Right, that should be it. For external distribution, then I can just click create. Right, since I have created the transmittal objects, then I can just go to manage transmittal view. All transmittals. Right, so these are the transmittals that have been created in MFOS, and if you, as you can see in the top here, on the top here we have the uh, transmittals that we have created just now, right? Because I have sorted these documents based on the date modified, right? So the latest document, the latest transmittal should be on the top. And as you can see here, since I have created a new project, so the transmittal number will be reset to 1. And you can see here we have the running number or sequence number. Perhaps you have your own format, right? So you can also configure that in MFOS, just like what Jana mentioned earlier, right? So if I expand this document or transmittal, I can see, all right, we have a few objects that is linked to this particular transmittal. We have transmittal documents. This is the 3 documents that we have created earlier. This is the project. And in MFiles, let's say that if you have some duplication, meaning to say that it will check against your content. So if you have multiple contents, multiple similar content, then it will give you something like this object with duplicated content, right? So this is something that is also interesting in MFiles, right? Then you can have the client link to this particular project. And then another thing that I would like to show to you is this is actually a transmittal cover sheet. So if I double click this document here, right, I can see these are the transmittal that we have configured as a template, and all the metadata properties have been automatically populated, and the transmittal documents metadata properties are also being populated in each row, right? So there's no need for you to manually type this, these metadata properties one by one for each of the documents. So you can have that automatically populated by using mfile template, right? I know this is a very simple transmittal cover sheet, but this is just to show you how this works in mfile, right? So I can just close this one, save this transmittal, and check in the document back in mfiles. Right. So currently I am at the compile document stage. So perhaps maybe before you would like to uh, distribute this transmittal to your external parties, for instance, like your clients or maybe your suppliers or any other third party users, maybe you would like to go to some sort of an internal review process, right? So in mfiles, we do have that capability uh, on creating the workflow. So if I wanted to submit this for approval, I can just click on this state transition here, submit for review. Then I can just click OK. Then as you can see here, the status is now changed to under review. And if you notice that in the assign section, in the assign tab, I have 2 assignments. We need to say I have 1 additional assignment. And I mean, basically, I just submit for review and it is assigned back to me. All right. So yeah, assuming I am the reviewer, I can see this document here. I can click on this metadata. I click on this object of transmittal, and I can have a quick walkthrough on what is the metadata, right? And I can see what is the assignment description. Please review the transmitter draft, etc. Then as the reviewer, I can also expand this object, to see what are the documents that are linked to these particular documents, and I can also have a quick look what are the transmitter cover sheet looks like. So assuming everything is okay, then I can just click on this object here and I can click approve for client. Then I once I have completed my assignment, the assignment will be removed from this section. So if I just go back to that particular view just now, where we can see all the transmittals, you can see now that the status or the workflow state is now changed to transmittal PDF generated. So what does it mean? So if I expand this object here, uh, what mfile does in the backend is that it will auto convert this Word document into PDF. And this is something that you can also do in an mfiles, meaning to say that whenever your workflow state reach certain stage or certain phase, you can do something like auto convert that document into PDF. And yep, this is what we have configured for this particular workflow. Right. So since the PDF has been successfully generated, now I would like to publish the document to Hub so that my external users can read or can access that files. As mentioned by Jenna, uh, mfiles works really, mfiles integrates really well with Hubshare, and Hubshare is actually a collaborative platform. So especially if you're working with your external users who doesn't have the access to mfiles, Hubshare is a really, really great tool to use. All right. So for instance, assuming that I am the clients in this in this webinar context, in this context of the webinar. So assuming I am the client or any third-party, uh, third-party users. So I will log in into this Hubshare, which is provided by EDMS or provided by the supplier in this demo, right? All right. So I just log in into this transmittal portal, and you can see that, all right, we have a few boxes here, and this boxes is what we call as the widget. So if you are the owner for this particular Hubshare, for this particular portal, you can actually customize the widget. You can actually add as many widgets as you want and customize all the widgets so that you can define what it should display to your user. So for instance, like this widget, I am showing pending transmittal. uh, on the bottom here I am showing the received transmittal, and on the right hand side it is where you can perform transmittal acceptance. Right. So in this case, if I sort this on the last modified, I can see that, all right, so this is the transmittal that I have created. So if, let's say, if your external users click on this particular object, then they can see, all right, what are the documents linked to this particular document, similar to mfiles, right? Just that they're not accessing from mfiles, they're using Hubshare to view this document, right? So I can click on this transmittal cover sheet here, and I can have a quick walkthrough on the contents. So there's no need for you to actually launch your PDF reader or third-party PDF reader. You can basically uh, read this document from Hubshare, and if you would like to download this document, you can just click on save here, and it will save this document to your local device. Right? I can see what are the documents linked to this particular documents as well, and yep, just like I mentioned, this is something that you can actually do in mfiles, right? So assuming that this transmittal is okay, and you would like to proceed with the acceptance, right? So I can just go to this transmittal acceptance form. Then I need to choose that particular transmittal for Tower B reconstruction. Let's say receive and acknowledge. Then I can just click create here. Right. So if I just refresh this widget here, I can see that that particular transmittal is now gone. So if I refresh the receive transmittal part, I can see that I can also enlarge this widget. I can see, all right, so this is the documents that I have received or I have knowledge. So I can also, uh, sort it by last modified. And I can even export this view here. So perhaps maybe your external users, you can allow your external user to export the listing, right, in CSV, right? So so perhaps they wanted to have some sort of report, internal report, so they can just download export these documents because each of the document have their own workflow status, right? Right. So what else can we do with HubShare, right? So apart from receiving documents, viewing documents, you can also upload documents to HubShare. And by uploading document to HubShare means that it is not actually storing that document to HubShare, but it will, at the end of the day, it will upload the documents back to mfiles, because HubShare is just like the front end of mfiles, right? So it's basically just to show you, yeah, just like that. It's like a front end for mfiles, right? So for this webinar, I have configured the submittals module. Right? So let's say that your external users would like to upload the documents and then have that reviewed by you. So they can just put something like tower B submittal, right? So what's the project? You can choose tower B reconstruction, issued for review, revision A. Then I can browse for the particular document. For instance, like this one, right? Then I can just click create here. Right, so if I refresh this widget, and if I sort this based on last modified, oh, if I expand this one, I can see this is the documents that I have uploaded. And as you can see here, it is now awaiting review, right? Because in mfiles, just like I mentioned, we have this workflow capability, and you can have the, for instance, once your external users uploaded the documents in mfiles from HubShare, then you can have a, you know, some sort of a quick internal review, right? Before you officially acknowledge that particular documents, and that can be done in mfiles. So if I just go back to mfiles very quickly, right? So back to this transmitter part just now, since the external users or external client have received and acknowledged this transmittal, as you can see here, the status now changed to receive, right? So back to these submittals just now, if I just go back to the home screen, oh yeah, since I have been assigned to that particular submittal, I can just go to my assign section here. Then you can see that, all right, so this is the particular documents that I have to review, right? So if I wanted to review the documents, I can just go to this preview section here. All right, then I can have a quick walkthrough on the metadata, right? So once everything is I mean, assuming everything is okay, then I can just click accepted. We need to say that I'm changing this state from review to accepted. So if I go back to the alt tab, if I go to the manage submittal views, I can see that, all right, so this is the submittals that I have accepted, right? So if I go back to HubShare, so if I just refresh this very quickly, right, let me just choose all, put all, so that every record will be displayed here. Sorry, I last modified, I can see, all right, so this is the documents or submittals that I have submitted. and the workflows, the status is now accepted. So your external client can also use HubShare so that they can track each of the document status that they have uploaded back to mfiles, right? And yep, so this is basically what you can do with mfiles and also HubShare to manage your project documents and also submittals and transmittals, right? And of course, this can be customized, according to your business requirement, because mfiles is really flexible, especially when it comes to customizing so that it will match your business processes, etc. Right? I think that's all for the demo for this webinar today. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the question during the Q&A session. Now I'm going to pass the stage back to Jenna. Jenna, over to you.
Thank you, Takif, for the system demonstration. All right. Okay, so we are now towards the end of our webinar session. Kindly share your questions if you have any. We have a few more minutes left.
All right, Jenna.
Yes.
Some of the attendees have given me some question. The first question is, are you able to advise on best practice during your project implementation, as we are not sure what best practice other companies are using?
All right. So maybe I'll just answer that. So for us, the best practices would be before you actually start any the project implementation, first and foremost is for you to identify which department you would like to start with, which department has the most documentations that you would like to start with. We would actually recommend you to go through phases. The reason why for this is that you are able to focus on a few of the important departments first to see for in the past, in the next few months after the project has gone live, to see whether the system works well for them. And once you receive feedback from the users, that's where we can actually go to the next phase of the project. We believe that's one of the best practices. Takib, would you like to add on that?
Yep. I have a few additional points. I mean, I agree with your points now, Jenna. So the best practices is to break down into phases, and the number one key is also to prioritize. I know some client, they would like to put all the requirements in one go, but at the end of the day, it's really difficult. I mean, somehow it's possible to do that because you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of time, and at the end of the day, you're gonna have to prioritize what are the important things that you would like to go live first. Then only you can start using the system. And also another thing that this is during our experience, it is also important for both sides to involve any relevant stakeholders in any stage of the project. For instance, maybe during the user requirement, maybe during the UAT, you're gonna need to, we have to involve the important stakeholders, because especially the decision makers, because when it comes to mfiles, we are working on the business processes, and business processes is a really important thing in organization, right? So it's related to the policies, related to your business process, and at the end of the day, we will need someone like a decision makers, especially for these business processes to be involved during the project implementation itself. Yep, I think that's all from me.
All right. So another question from the attendees. If we wanted to export all our documents and drawing for specific projects to our client, are we able to bulk export or migrate as formal handover of the projects?
Maybe I can answer that question, yeah? Right. Right. So when it comes to bulk export, yes, you can actually do that. And if you wanted to bulk export specifically for projects, right? So what we can do is you can actually create a view in mfiles, right? Create a view and filter by projects, so that all the documents listed in that particular view is only related for that particular project or client. And then you can have the option to export all the documents within that view. right? So this is something that you can do. I mean, if you wanted to export all the documents in bulk. Otherwise, if the clients, I mean, if the clients are okay by downloading one by one or just viewing it from the web portal, then they can just refer to HubShare and just download the document. But to answer your question, especially on the bulk export, yes, you can do the one that I've mentioned. Create a customized view, filter it by project or client, then export that views, export all the documents in that particular views, and then you can hand over to your clients. Right.
Okay. Another question. Can external parties edit the document in HubShare?
Yes, you can allow that in HubShare, right? So basically, there's a few things that you need to take note. Whenever we integrate HubShare and mFiles from the API, I mean from the user point of view, it is using any credentials that you are creating in mFiles, right? So for instance, if that particular credential has the read and edit access, then yes, you can allow external user to edit the documents or even upload the documents, just like I've shown earlier during the demo, especially in HubShare. So let's say that if the user credential is only for read only, but then, I mean, then you can upload documents or edit documents in HubShare.
All right. So last question for the attendees. What will be the typical implementation duration for this project?
Okay, all right. Maybe on that question, I can answer it. So like the implementation duration actually depends on the complexity of the requirement of the client. So the implementation plan could be, for it could be for 10 days or it can go up to weeks. It really depends on the requirement. That's why, as mentioned by Takif during one of the first questions that was raised, it is very important for us to understand your requirements and also the the people in charge, maybe like from the department's representative, has to actually sit down with us for us to understand in detail on what is the most important documents or like business processes that they would like to actually implement first in during the project. So yeah, it really depends on the client's requirement. Do we have any other
Okay,
questions, Ayman?
no more question.
Okay. All right. So it's already we hope you actually find this session informative and beneficial. And we would like to thank you for your time today and all the questions that has been raised. But anyway, should you have any questions after this session or you would like to have a discussion call with us, please do not hesitate to contact us. We hope you have a good day and goodbye.